So, Jonah, tell us about your professional work life. So, how did you get started, and eventually, what attracted you to ICG?
Yeah, absolutely, Walter. So I've been working since a very young age. Since 16, I got hired out of high school to a family-run restaurant in Cary, North Carolina, where I grew up. So I started for many years in the customer service area, right? And in that area, I was able to use my skills for just loving people and wanting to attract people and in long-lasting relationships. Did that for many years. And then once I got older and once I graduated college, I wanted to take those skills that I knew how to equip myself with for people coming in that either needed or wanted a service from me or expected a service from me. And I wanted to take those and I wanted to flip it to start reaching out to people that didn't necessarily need anything from me, didn't necessarily want anything from me, but I reached out, used those same people skills and, made them aware of what we offered and how it could be a mutual benefit there, still creating that long lasting relationship. So it was really just a transition of skill sets, changing perspectives on it that I've had since I was very young in high school.
Wow, 16.
16. Yep.
That's really amazing. So, what initially attracted you to ICG?
Absolutely. I think two reasons. From a business structured standpoint, I knew that there was a lot of resources for me here to be
Mm.
successful and to grow within this role, as well as a larger team from where I was coming from. And that in itself is a resource. And then outside of everything you need to be successful professionally, what attracted me to ICG was just the clear and evident family culture that is displayed. And I just wanted to be a part of that because, I'm a big believer that you will perform to a certain level if you believe in what you're doing and you believe in the people that you're doing it for.
It's wow, that's really awesome. How do you feel about ICG's company culture?
As a company culture, I think it's very healthy, which is a great thing to say because a lot of times people can feel like they're misunderstood or feel like they don't have a voice in the everyday life, because they have this idea in their mind that they're at the bottom of the food chain, so they can't really speak up or speak on certain matters. But it's very very welcome here in the sense that it doesn't really matter who you are or what age you are, especially coming from my perspective, being one of the youngest on the team. It means a lot because everybody's perspective is welcome. So
Yeah,
the culture is just very very healthy here.
that's really good. And what do you enjoy the most about your job?
What I enjoy most about my job is honestly the challenge. Like I said, I'm used to seeing people in person that would come into a restaurant and like need me to take their order, and would expect or want a service from me. Now I get to take that same love and same passion for people and reach out to them when they're not really expecting anything from me, but take on the challenge
Mm.
through cold outreach to build something from the ground up, being a relationship towards somebody that has never heard from me before, never received a call from me before, or maybe even never heard of iCheck Gateway.
Okay. And you have really amazing people skills, Jonah. Is it something you studied, grew up with? What did you
Yeah,
attribute to that?
great question, Walter. I've always been filled by impacting people and connecting with people, one on one, just like you and I are doing now. Like, I'm a huge believer that people in relationships, or let me rephrase that, relationships is what makes the world go round. Obviously finances and money and revenue is all a necessity. Nobody's discrediting that, but for me, just the way that others are able to connect with one another, build trust, build a foundation is really what makes the world go round, because for years they now entrust you with whatever they've given you, whether it's a mutual connection or a contract, or just all these things that help help everybody see their visions succeed.
Okay. And is it something like you studied, or it comes naturally?
So for me, I believe it's natural for me to make an attempt to connect with humans in the way that I do. Obviously, you're growing every day, right? As you go through
Yeah.
certain life experiences. So it was something that I just naturally knew about myself, but then acquired different perspectives. As I got older and as my work experience began to fill itself throughout the years.
Right. And what do you feel is iCG's greatest strength?
Greatest strength. Yeah. So there's two things that come to that, or come to mind when I think of that. Rather, one is the fact of what we offer. Like I said, is very down to earth. It's for everybody. Without a payments processor, there's not a business, right? So that can be from anywhere from a corporation that has been around a good bit of time, or it could be an everyday entrepreneur just trying to get their journey started, in need of organizing all the transactions. So one, I definitely say the product being so down to earth is a great strength to approach people with iCheck Gateway. And like we kind of touched on before, just the culture that's created here, it makes you want to, continue to learn more each day because of the people that you are in constant communication with every day.
What motivates you to come to work every day?
Oh man, yeah, great question. I think for me, just being 25 years old at this time, if I can just, it sounds so cliche, but it's something I like to stick with, get 1% better every day and just kind of take it a week by week basis at that point and be like, okay, last week I may have saw it differently than I do this week, or last week I may have struggled with this. So let's go ahead and challenge myself to acquire more skills that I may not be comfortable with at the time, but all in order to be 1% better, and then just do my part to make sure that everybody eventually knows who iCheck Gateway is. So definitely the challenge of being 1% better every day.
That's really awesome. How do you feel about the management style in your department?
Yeah, I think again, I think it ties in with the culture. I think it's great. Obviously, it's hard work that we do, but we also have fun doing it. We celebrate the successes, but we also collaborate on what we may not be clear on or struggle with or confused about. So I just think that, again, going back to the idea that everybody has, the open floor, so to speak, whenever we do get together and communicate, it's just a great managerial style to report to.
And how do you feel about iCG's work-life balance policies?
Yeah, I think it's a good work-life balance. Not to give you a such a short answer, but I really do. Like I've been in this role a good bit at this point, although I've just been with iCG for a couple months. What matters is what you're doing and when you're doing it. So there's no magic time to call people throughout the day when you're doing cold outreach. It's just meeting a certain volume throughout the week, not because it's like this written role that you have to, but it's just putting yourself in the best situation for success. So as long as that is met every single day, like I don't feel too overwhelmed, because I know what the end goal is and how to approach it. So I think it's a fair work life balance.
Great. And what benefits do you value the most from this job?
Oh man. Honestly, I think just literally the benefits in general. I think that was huge for me. Learning how to grow in adulthood. Not only providing a life for myself that I could again afford, but just being able to uh, check into the whole benefits package. Being able to see the doctor whenever I need to, along with the dentist, and even setting up my 401k, which is huge. It didn't.
Yeah.
I thought it was, I thought it was stupid when I was a year ago, 24. Start saving for retirement now. But like once I came here and found that that was a benefit, it opened my eyes because every little bit for the next 50 years, let's say, is actually going to be pretty huge and adding up. So literally just the benefits package in general.
Wonderful. And I'm really happy for you. I'm seeing you're punching some really good numbers, and at quite a young age. Um, how do you feel about the level of recognition and appreciation you receive for your work?
Sure. Yeah, I enjoy it. Obviously I'm not looking for a pat on the back every day, and I don't think anybody is, but
Yeah.
it is a relief to know that your efforts are recognized. For instance, say a meeting is booked from one of us, one of the guys, one of the BDRs, it's usually expected that they'll shout us out for it. Be like, hey, my calendar is filled on this day, and this actually came from this BDR, that BDR. So we appreciate you having that initiating conversation there.
Now back to people. How would you describe the relationships you have with your colleagues and your superiors?
Yeah, so those are growing every day, which is great to say. It goes back to square one. I believe life is about the relationships you make and the impact of those, whether business or personal. So it's just it's been really great to grow with these people every day, because you're meeting with them a couple times a week, and sometimes you're having these tough conversations where it's like, okay, this isn't working. How do we make it work? Or this did work, but is there a way that we can make that approach better? So I think just, the couple meetings that we have a week, having those intellectual conversations really builds the relationship foundation for everybody.
Great. This is a bit similar to the rest, but so here you compare iCG to the other companies you've worked for in the past. So what do you feel sets iCG apart from whatever you've worked for in the past?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, not to sound like a broken record, but the culture is something I've never seen before, because a lot of times in the work world, I'd say 95% of the time, it's just such a numbers and business oriented thing, to where it's, you're here to do a job, they're here to pay you for it, and you're there to produce numbers. All that here is obviously true, because that's how you run a business. But here, just again, to reiterate that you have a voice and you have a name
Mhm.
here in this culture, is just something that I think is something I've never seen before, to the level that they make it apparent. As well as just fun things, like having work group chats, so that we're reminded that we're all people, right? And
Yeah,
it's just, again, it's all a breath of fresh air, to use that word again.
true. I totally agree. What have been the most significant challenges you've faced in your career so far, and how have you overcome them?
Yeah, I think, gosh, that's another great question. I think it's just dealing with the psychological battle every day, right? I can use my example as a business development representative all day long, but it's true for anybody. Confidence is such a huge thing. Your
Yeah.
thoughts and your mind is what perceives your world. So if you're able to, for instance, say I'm in the middle of the week and the cold outreach hasn't treated me too well, not in the way that I wanted it to go. Am I
Mhm.
able to flip that switch to where it's like I'm telling myself that it's going great, even though it may not be, but still come across with that belief and with that confidence that, hey, I'm here to talk to you. I'm here to connect with you. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm after. We're two human beings. Let's connect. So I think just getting past that psychological mindset of telling yourself that it is going great no matter what the end result is, it has just been my biggest challenge. And I've been able to adapt that, I'd say, really since I've gotten here at iCheck Gateway, because I came from a short stint where I started a BDR role, just again, elsewhere. So.
Right. Nice. It's really that's really important what you've said because for many people, when you ask them about cold outreach, they're like, no, 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 no. The
Mhm.
rejection. Yeah. Some people may call you names. You might not hit your targets.
Oh
So I
yeah,
agree.
it's a war zone out here for sure.
Yeah, yeah, totally. It's a battle out there. And if you could give us like some bullet points, what do you think are the most important skills or traits for success in your current role? You've mentioned confidence. You've mentioned not really caring about the naysayers. What other bullets would you add as the most important skills and traits for success in your role?
Yeah, definitely. I think to go along with those, I'll add one more, and I'll say persistency. And it all ties back into, okay, if you get knocked down, it's not about getting knocked down because everyone does. How do you get back up when you're knocked down? Or how do you respond to pressure when you know you're not where you want to be in the moment, but you got to get there? Like, how do you respond to pressure? Are you just going to give up because it's more comfortable to, or are you going to say, you know what, that stung. It always stings when you fail, or whatever failing may look like to you in that situation. But are you going to have the heart to get up the next day and try again? So persistency.
Yeah. Good, good. Yeah, yeah. When you fail, get up the next day, try again. Okay. So how do you balance your professional development and your personal life and your personal commitments? Do you have specific strategies that you found effective?
Yeah, great question, Walter. And to be honest with you, um, I need to get more organized with that because I just do it, right? Like I know what I'm paid to do, and trusted to do every day with iCheck Gateway. And then everything I want to accomplish is obviously second to that, but I still somehow find a way to make time for both. So, now that we're on that subject, maybe I should start with a calendar, some sticky notes to just, again, use that psychological trick to get out of your mind and on paper of, okay, after you accomplish what you want to do with iCheck Gateway on that day, what are you going to accomplish in your personal life? Write it down so that that goal can easily be reached. So, it's all in my head right now, which isn't great organization, but asking me a question like that inspires me to definitely start up a calendar, or write it down. So
Yeah, yeah, that would be good. I would totally endorse that. It's really good. Writing things down has also really helped me in terms of being organized. I used to be a workaholic. I would work 24, 48 hours straight. But I had to, get a little bit organized and writing things down, goals. I want to lose this much weight, or, I want to be able to run this many miles and stuff like that. It's really useful. Okay, so just a few humorous ones to end on. If you could swap jobs with one person in the company for one day, not forever, just one day, who would it be and why?
oh man, probably Kaylee, honestly, because she does a lot of behind the scenes things that may not always be noticed, but it should forever be noticed because she's keeping me and the guys organized, and HubSpot if we ever miss anything or get a little disorganized, and she also exercises her creative brain, and in running our Twitter, and checking over emails and different things like that. So I think just being able to exercise my creative brain a little bit more throughout the day would be an awesome experience, and I would definitely want to start with her role to see what that would be all about.
That's great. Swapping roles with Kaylee for one day. She's doing a really good job as the queen of HubSpot and
Yes.
many other things behind the scenes. I agree she's an amazing hire. If you had to describe your job using only emojis, which ones would you choose and why?
Well, I mean, I hate to be this guy, Captain Obvious, but I'd have to put a phone in there, of course. I'd probably put the little steam face emoji in there because sometimes you can get really frustrated, but then sometimes you can feel like LeBron James in the fourth quarter because your back was against the wall and you booked 2 meetings that day, so you're coming off of this adrenaline high that is just an amazing thing to feel. So I'd definitely say the calling, the steam face emoji, and then gosh, I'd probably do the sunglasses emoji because again, you just feel so cool and invincible when you do book a meeting, through cold outreach. So those three, I'd have to put them together.
Yeah, I love this. I love this. And I've come to the end of this. Do you have anything to add that about your experience with iCG that maybe you have not asked?
Yeah, I think you covered a lot of things, but just to summarize it all, like I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful. This is the biggest company that I've ever worked for, which is something that I wanted. to feel like I'm not alone out here and feel like I have a plethora of resources. So I'm very grateful to be a part of such a big team like this.
Fantastic. This has been really amazing. Jonah, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you,
And I look
Walter.
forward
Thank
to
you for
talking
having
to
me.
you again. Okay, have a great day, Jonah.
Bye bye.